Hello, everyone. This is Elaine Nieberding, and you are watching The Holy Shift Show, episode 28. Today, it's June the 2nd, and here in Maryland, USA, where I live, we're into the summer. It's hot. It's humid already. We're changing our clothes, we're changing some of the things we do, and so it seemed like a good time to even reflect on, for the past seasons of holding Hangouts and the Holy Shift Show, what's been good? What's been valuable? And for other Hangout hosts and programs, they might want to consider too. Is it good to critique, to review from time to time what you're doing? Feel into what would be good to be offering to followers, to clients in the future, so that there are continuing experiences of good connection, good feelings, and let's just call them win-win experiences. So today our show is called Focus on Feedback. And I'm hoping some of the Holy Shift Show flockers might show up in the comment stream during our show, watching either from Google Plus Live or watching from YouTube. We're so glad you're here whenever you happen to be watching. But we might put a link in to have some of you come and actually join us on screen. But I have two with me right now, who are folks you may well have seen either on the Holy Shift Show or on other Hangouts on Air programs. And I'll introduce them to you, and we'll get our feedback conversation started. Right now I want to welcome Molly Youngblood Geiger from Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Molly. How are you today?
Hey, Elaine. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on your show. Yes, I am located in Jacksonville, Florida, and it is very summer-like. I think it's 91 degrees outside today, so thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to the show.
So thank you. So we have Molly with us. She really knows a lot about Google, you know. You want to know stuff about Google, you pick Molly's brains. So we're going to do that a little bit today as we talk about feedback and critiquing. And then from a little bit further east from me anyway on the planet, we have Heidi Hornline hanging out from Italy. Heidi, I'm so glad you've joined me. Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine. It was a wonderful day, and it was a festa day in Italy, so nobody on this in work. It's all, everybody dressed up and gatherings and picking cherries and fun, and it was a good day. So.
And I see all these lovely blooms there. Are they from your garden or close by?
This is from my garden. I picked them extra for you. These are the roses which are now on, and this is an orchid which is in its second year, and it bloomed by itself, and Mark is taking care for it, and I'm so excited. It's 4 weeks that it's like this. It's marvelous.
So that's good. So today this is episode 28 of this show. While I started actively doing Hangouts in January of 2014, now here it is almost a year and a half later, and we're at episode 28 of this show, and so I'm doing some reflecting. And I'm going to be doing my own review of my shows, paying attention to my own inner feelings about what wants to move and express and come out into Hangout broadcast land. But I also, and I'm just noticing I have to plug in my power. That would be a really good idea, wouldn't it? Power on. There we go. That's a little better. But I also felt like I want to develop some questionnaires. I want to get some feedback from some of my followers. And I'm not sure how to do it, but I know in different entrepreneurial guidance programs, they do regularly suggest get feedback from people. If you end a class, you want to know, what did you like? Did you find value there? And so outside of going back and just looking at all the comments that have been made in the comment stream on my Google Plus events pages, I thought, I think it's time for me to get some feedback in maybe some different ways. And so right now I'm happy to say we have one flocker with us. Missy J has shown up in the house and saying, hi, everybody. So, Missy, we're glad you're here. And if you've been watching the Holy Shift Show for a couple months now and then, we hope you will share with us some feedback. So let me start out with Heidi, because you, like me, have been a Hangout host, and you've been active in, 2 primary series. And I'm just wondering, how you have gotten a sense of feedback or thought about, the kind of responses that, that you've gotten from different watchers or followers. Have you kind of just followed your own intuition about the sense of feedback from your viewers? How have you approached that?
I have no systematic way to process feedback, but I see it in the comments when people begin not only to say, oh, this was great, but then they tell you also why they find it great. Then for me it comes, oh, maybe at least for some people we are on the right track. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we cannot make it right for everybody, but for who is showing up and it's saying what was good or what they would like to, and asking questions, interesting questions, or let's say in the way that they show that they are interested in what we present. This is sort of giving me the feedback, and then people showing up again and again. This is also a good sign.
Oh, indeed. When you see the same faces coming back, and faces that you also see going to other Hangouts as well, then you get a sense of there's really a viewing family here on Google+. And we see them together because we share common interests and common values. And obviously, sometimes we go to shows for learning new content. But sometimes we go to shows because we have kind of a visceral experience of, kind of how we feel when we're hanging out in that place, either connecting with new people. And I wish I had actually explored and found out the definitive quote from Maya Angelou, but I think she said something like, as you end your life, it's not going to be what you've done that people may remember. It's going to be how you made them feel. And so I'm mentioning that early on in the show because I think it is this energetic connection and this feeling connection that we're having in back of all the content that we might be learning. That's a real big part of having people come back. How do they feel? Molly, I see you nodding, and maybe this is as true for people not only coming back to Hangout shows, but returning to any type of provider experience and client or follower or customer experience. Your mic is muted, so unmute and give me some reflections.
Sure. I totally agree with that quote. It's one of my favorite quotes from Maya, and it is about how you make people feel, whether it be a client experience or a friend or comrade or just a family member. And so I can share with you my experience with Google Plus and Hangouts that, when I first started, I really wasn't sure what I was doing, and I just kind of, visited, different Hangouts and watched, and just became familiar with the different groups that were out there. But you're right, some groups they talk about certain subjects, and then there's other groups that make you feel a certain way. And when you can attach your feelings with those Hangouts, with those particular Hangout providers, you start to feel comfortable. And I know one experience I had with Google Plus was with the Google Partners community, where I'm a community ambassador. And being that I am in the technical field, I talk to people, peers around me, my family members, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. It's like I'm talking Greek to them. But when I joined the Google Partners community, that was one of the things that I really enjoyed, is they made me feel like I could say anything, because when I would talk within the community, they, number one, understood what I was saying, and number two, had some feedback. So I think right there, that's a really good example of how a community or how a Hangout provider, they can reach out to an individual and connect with them. Going a step further for business owners, the same can be said. That's one of my number one priorities with my clients, is good customer service, and making sure that the client, the customer, feels like they can reach out to me anytime, via email, phone, text, and they're going to get a response from me. So I totally agree with what you're saying about creating that feeling or that connection with a client or with a Google Hangout provider.
Yeah. And so, Heidi, to you, I want to say, I have watched and participated in more of your Connections Forum shows than actually your newer series. But what you and Margarita Chrysolotis have set up does certainly have a feel to it. The dynamics that you have with Margarita are different than the dynamics you have with Mark and share with other guests there. And so, do you notice you have crossover with audiences to the one show coming over to the second show, but because the topics might be a little different, you do get different types of comments, and people are having different experiences.
Yes, sometimes they do. They come more from Connections to the Wisdom Factory, because Connections in many ways is a little bit lighter in some way, This is not so, while in the Wisdom Factory we are trying to give more, I don't know, information, but it's more on a deeper level, and people need to have already a certain understanding of what we are offering. It's not beginner stuff normally. So while on Connections you can come and we begin at A and go to B to C and so on, while on the Wisdom Factory you must already be at least at B to understand it. So in this way, sometimes they come and sometimes they stay. The other way, I find out that people who are explicitly coming to the Wisdom Factory, they would find probably connection forms, not all, but some of the shows too light, So for me, it's interesting to explore both things. The more Connections Forum is more giving tips and easy tips for everyday situations and so on. While the Wisdom Factory goes also quite a little bit in theory and in the background of what we are doing and in consciousness studies and so on. So it's interesting for me to be on both and to be able to.
And once again, I know on the Connections Forum program, you've had guests on there that have also woven experiential things into part of the Hangout. I've done that, as you've invited me to do some of the laughter things over there, and I've been thrilled to have that opportunity. Have you also done that on some of the Wisdom Factory programs?
On some we do, yeah, because there are some of these topics which are practice, really practice, but then it's a sort of a deep practice. It's not, for instance, we had a show with Lawrence Gold, and he has to offer a very, very exciting, for me, exciting practice, which is working on the mind, on the pathways, on the, how do you say, the connections. It's changing your mind by words. In other words, it's a sort of a meditation. And when he guides that, you know, this is really amazing. And he did it. We had it twice. We had him twice, one in the Wisdom's Chat and one in the real series about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yes, this was there. With other people, we were mainly talking about the background of what they are doing and of how they are doing it and why they are doing it and what it is in for the world, what it is in for, as I said, create a better world. So it is more directed in this impersonal realm instead of the personal way of doing. While this practice of Lawrence, it is personal, but you enter into a non-dual awareness of things, so it becomes also impersonal.
Right.
So,
But what by saying that, what I've come to understand is that, you know, you've had programs, once again, that are a combination of content discussion, which can evoke feelings, but also sometimes a taste of an experiential practice, which then also invokes an awareness of feelings as well. So that's good. You've done them both. Right now, I want to say hi to Ron Schneeberger because he has been one of my laughter aficionados who's enjoyed some of those practices, and he's here and checking in late from Jupiter, Florida. He's on Jupiter and he's also here on planet Earth. So Ron, I want to say hi to you. Thanks for coming by, and later on in the show, maybe around 30 past the hour or 35 past the hour, I may put the link to come on into the Hangout, and if you would like to join us to share a little feedback about your experiences with the Holy Shift Show and other Hangouts, we'll invite you to do that because we know you're Hangout ready. So thank you. Okay, so what I want to do, just to give people who are watching live or replay a little refresher, I'm going to go on over to my screen share and just bring up my YouTube channel and give a little retrospective over some of the topics and folks who have been on our show, just to provide a little memory spurring so that you might, either watching live or later on if you're watching in replay, share some feedback about some of the favorite things you've enjoyed, guests or topics that you've enjoyed, even feedback about whether you've participated in some of the laughter shows that we've done. So let me go on over to screen share, and let's see, we're going to bring up this. So ladies, can you see my, oh, it's kind of small though, isn't it? It's not, I don't know that I have the right one up. I don't think I have the right one up. Hold on. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. Let's see. Is this it? No, I lost it. So you know what? We're going to bag that. We're going to bag that. Oh, okay, so here I am back. Anyway, so starting in October 14th of 2014, we started out our first show with F words. That's been a recurring theme. And, you know, playing with all these F words about future, failure, fear, fulfillment, family, friends, and we've woven those themes through many of our programs, but we've had some where we've discussed those in particular. And one of my favorite moments of all my shows was when Margarita Crystal Lotus said, look, F words aren't just these expletives, you know, that have to be like bad or rude or just truly getting your energy out. She suggested to us, everybody, find your own personal flexpletives. When you really want to say something strong, find your own perfect flexpletive. So I remember that moment, and that was of great fun for me. We went on from there. We did a couple laughter shows. We did one called Fake It to Free It. We did a laughter show before the series of 3 World Laughter Day shows this year in May. We did a grand laughter show on St. Patty's Day where we had Chef Dennis with us. We had Nazim Beltran, Candy Javier Sakai. We had folks from all over the world joining us on that, and even Stan Bush showing us in a very unique way where he was wearing some green. Do any of you remember that? I wonder. I loved it. Okay, let's see. We did a nature show. We did a nature show with that Heidi, you joined me on. We talked about owl play. That was recent. We've done a couple shows where we're talking about the G+ family, playing together, practicing together, and serving together. Molly, you joined me. You've joined me for a couple shows now, and I'm very grateful for that. You were with me on the spring show called Respect, Resist, and Refresh.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's see.
Hey, real quick, Elaine, I just wanted to let you know I got your, if you want to pin me, I have your YouTube channel screen share, so you'll have to pin me. But I just wanted the folks in the audience to be able to see your channel real quick because Elaine has done a lot of different shows. So I am doing a screen share right now.
Okay. Yeah, so you can kind of scroll down through those just to...
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
Here's the one we're actually live right now. It's already cached and indexed, your show that you're doing right now. But episode 27, Enter the Zone, the Approval Zone. Episode 26, Flying Free. We got World Laughter Day. The third hangout, I think there was a total of 3 hangouts for World Laughter Day, and there's just so many different. There's one where I was on the mobile friendly Ready Freddy. I remember that one. That was a really good hangout. But there's every single one. There's another one I was on, Spring, Respect, Resist, Refresh. So it's rather fun how you got captured for the front picture. I like that. It's not always just me. There's one with Karen V. Chen. So yeah, I mean, lots of great. You've got Dave Moore. You've had such a variety of guests on your show. So definitely, if you get a chance, check out Elaine's YouTube channel. You get every single one of her videos. You got Zara Altair, there's Chef Dennis. So yeah, lots of great guests.
Okay, so that's a little review for some folks, and some of the shows have had this focus on growing the G+ family. Some of the shows have been to nourish entrepreneurs. I especially love the show with Andrea Beltrami and Thomas E. Hanna, where we were talking about your visual vibe, all about branding. Boy, Andrea is somebody to watch. She is on fire and quite a lot of fun. And then we have done shows where we get into kind of consciousness topics and abundance and mindset topics. And Heidi, do you remember the one that we did on the abundance propeller? I really enjoyed that show with you a lot.
Yeah, I do remember. And as it is today to give feedback, what I like in your shows, one of what I really admire is your ability to create this atmosphere. So I can't even describe it, but it's so hilarious and but not funny in a strange sense. But it's just fine, you know. It's just you create the space where you can welcome in people. This is very nice. And the other thing I really admire, your ability to turn around words. To play with words as you know, just amazing. I like it so much.
Yeah.
And as a guest, I feel very well. You know, I feel very well seen and cared for, and yeah. So that's my feedback.
I think
Go
that's
ahead,
one
Molly.
of the important things of being a Hangout provider is having a personality or defining a personality so that people get to know you. I mean, I think that's part of the fun of hanging out with people is you get to talk to a real live person who they have either an interesting personality or friendly or they have some type of characteristic that's unique to them. And I think that's what really creates the connection between a Hangout host and an audience member is they get to know that person, they get familiar, and once they get familiar, they want to start watching the Hangout TV show on a regular basis.
Yeah. So, once again, I am so grateful that Google created this because it was this free space. I had already had enough, performing and public speaking experience in my life. So for me to come on here and given my own personality and persona, it's like, well, let's just play here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what I feel like doing. Let's see what the response is like. And then I wove in the laughter stuff. But it's an evolving process. But once again, I love the Google Plus environment because it's been so collaborative and supportive. And and the shows aren't all about just selling something, like I'm putting something out because I want something back. It's really like, what do I want to extend that will bless others? How can we have a win-win here so we keep coming back and nourishing each other? The more and more that I can operate from this abundance mindset, then it's not about giving to get, or I'm in this state of lack. I mean, believe me, I have my own curiosities and challenges of figuring out, to be seen, and to be accepted, do I absolutely have to be monetizing? I mean, I'm still in the process of figuring that out, what works for me. In the days and months ahead, I'm likely to be doing some different kinds of Hangout programs because I know I want to at least be exploring kind of one-on-one interviews with some people as opposed to always doing big group conversations. They're good. I have fun doing it. But it might be time for me to see what it feels like, doing the one-on-one with a little bit more pointed focus stuff as well. But what I think I want to get into now, Molly, is talking about this idea of creating. Molly's got a comment. Molly.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what you're saying that I think for a lot of Hangout hosts, that's a concern of theirs. Like, well, should I just be out there helping people, or should I be out there trying to pitch, or should I be out there trying to monetize? And I can say for myself, I just go out there and try and help people because I figure if I can build my reputation to where people feel comfortable to reach out to me, kind of like you did for the last couple shows we did about being member friendly and Google products and that type of thing, then I think you establish yourself as a thought leader. Meaning people go, oh, well, if you have a question about Google, Molly's probably a good person to go ask that question because she's affiliated with Google Partners and small business community, so there's a pretty good chance she's going to have an answer. So I think by doing that, if Hangout hosts can do the same for themselves in their retrospective industries or the types of businesses that they specialize in, I think the business will actually come to those individuals instead of them trying to pitch or monetize themselves.
Right. And like Heidi. Okay, so, oh, did I lose Heidi? Ooh, I'm not sure. Anyway, just a question. Molly, I have Heidi
Yes.
pinned, but is she showing up for you?
I am seeing Heidi in the film strip, but it looks like she is
For some
frozen.
reason. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe there's a connectivity issue going on.
Yeah. No, it might be. In fact, it kind of looks like she's frozen. Well,
Yes.
I want to still make the same point that I was going to make. Maybe Heidi will come out. We'll go out and come back in. We'll see.
Oh, I'm here.
But, you know, Heidi and Mark are now known as, she's raising her finger. You know, they're known as go-to people. If you want to talk about consciousness stuff, great people to talk to. You know, awareness, consciousness, practice, building community, integrating, in all these topics related to not only just integral theory, but integrative practices, you know, paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Heidi,
Yeah, and
she's
we
back.
want
Yay,
also,
she's back.
yeah, we want also to be known as relationship experts, because that's at the end what we are working on in our own relationship, in past trainings we have done, but all in the integral framework, you know. So this is all sort of coming together. Also, it doesn't look like that, but we can also give very normal relationship tips. And I think in our next season we will work about relationships.
Yeah, and so I now see here that my buddy, I love Dave Moore. He's here. He's giving me a nice compliment, and I'll take it, and I'll read it. The great thing about Elaine Nieberding shows is her attitude. No matter how busy it gets, her attitude allows her to access her ability to play with words and keep control of it all and make everyone feel included and gives everyone a platform. She's a very generous host, and I love her. The feeling's mutual, Dave. Thank you so much for being here. It's great. And we have another person here too. Let's see, Becky Coleman. Becky Coleman's here and said, shoot, I forgot and went out to dig potatoes, but now she's back and participating. So that's great. Alrighty, and all right, so Molly, I want to skip back and ask again about these sometimes formal ways that Hangout hosts or people who run businesses gain feedback. And sometimes we do things like take polls. And of course, we have this little feature within Google Plus posts that you can do. You can make polls where you have multiple questions or kind of multiple answers. And then also within Google Drive, we have an ability to use I guess it's a forms function to create questionnaires. So tell us something about that. How could I be utilizing that feature? And, you know, kind of, are there instructions on how to do it?
Sure. So anyone, and not even necessarily business owners, but anybody who's looking to get feedback from their audience, a great way to do that is by using forms. Now, traditionally, most forms are going to show up on a website. The thing is if you're going to have a form on a website, you have to know HTML. You're going to be working with something called the CGI bin, which is kind of, I like to describe like the brain of a server. You have to work with scripts. It can get really complicated. So what Google's done is they've created, actually on two different platforms, which one is Google Drive, the other one is Google Docs, the ability for users to go in. Anybody who has a Google or a Gmail account has access to these apps. But they give a user the ability to come up with forms, surveys. They can allow people to post comments, like if they just want a general comment box where they want somebody to, you know, explain how they feel about a certain website or a certain subject, where they can actually take this link, because what happens is Google actually stores these forms on their server. So it really simplifies the whole process for a user to be able to go in, create a form, and then take that form and market it, meaning they can share it with their Google Plus audience. They could potentially share it with their email list if they've got an email list that they put together. They could even go a step above and beyond if they're really tech savvy and market it through what I refer to as mobile marketing, which is a text, meaning they actually send a text out to their audience asking, hey, what did you think about the show? So there's a lot of different ways. Social media, that's another platform that can be utilized, where if you've created a form on Google Drive or Google Docs, where they can get feedback. And I'll share with you one of the things that the moderators do for the Google Partners community is they have very technical hangouts weekly. Usually it's 1 to 2 hangouts. One of the things they do is they actually utilize Google Forms to get the feedback from community members who watch these hangouts, and they ask very specific questions. You know, what did you like about it? What did you, was there anything you didn't like about it? Did you learn something? What would you like to see in the future? So even right there, to see Google themselves, because they are managing the Google Partners and Google Small Business Community, are Google brand communities, they themselves utilize tools that they've produced for everybody that wants to use them. So I strongly recommend, if you are looking to get feedback from either a TV show, a website, a digital campaign, really any feedback you're looking for is to go on Google Drive or Google Docs and create a form. If you're not sure how to do that, don't worry. All you need to do is go to YouTube and type in, how do I create a form on Google Drive, or how do I create a form on Google Docs? And there are plenty of video tutorials, so it's step by step. They literally show you where you go and create those forms.
That is beautiful. Okay, so Molly, and I'll address you in just a minute, Heidi. So what Molly has said is, not only is there this feature on Google Drive and Google Docs to create forms, but finding the instructions step by step of how to do it, it's right there on YouTube. And if you type in either within YouTube search or within Google search, find out how to use forms on Google Drive or Google Docs, they'll pop up. Check them out, and it won't cost you anything. That's great.
That's correct.
Okay. So, Heidi, you had another comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, you send forms to collected people who have watched your shows, or how would you bring it out?
So what I would do in that instance is, if I wanted to gather feedback from a Hangout or a Hangout show, is I would go onto Google Drive or Google Docs and I would create a form specific to that Hangout, meaning I would probably ask the audience, what did you think about the subject matter today? If you had any feedback, what would that feedback be? And I would include a comment box where people could just go in there and tell me what they thought. I would also ask the audience, what type of Hangouts would they like to see in the future, meaning what is there a specific subject matter that the audience would be interested in learning about. I'd even go a step above and beyond for those Hangout providers who have guests to actually get feedback about those guests, meaning everything from our Hangout today. If you did, what was it you learned? So there's all types of different questions that can be asked, but once I created the form and I've got that link, I would actually take, there would be 2 ways I would go about it. The first way is I would actually just go do a comment, because what happens is when somebody has an event page and you post, well, everybody who's commented on that, they're going to get notification that, hey, Molly just posted on her event page, and that would be the link. And you could just say something like, hey, thanks everybody for watching our Hangout today. We'd like to get some feedback from you. If you wouldn't mind, just take a couple minutes, click the link, and complete our survey so we can learn what you thought about the show today. Above and beyond that, the event page also has a feature for all of the guests who RSVP, so whether they click yes or they click maybe, once they have RSVP, there's a feature where you can actually email all those people. So you could even go a step above and beyond just posting it to the event page and actually send a message out to everybody who watched the show or RSVP. Hey, do you have a couple minutes? We've created this the survey. We'd like to get some feedback from you. So that's how I would accomplish that.
Oh, this is fine. Can you tell me what RSVP is?
Yeah, RSVP is when you create an event and maybe they think they want to watch a show, so they will click maybe. So RSVP is a commitment from them saying either yes, I'm going to watch the show, or maybe I'll watch the show. But either way, that's what an RSVP is.
Right. And of course, it comes from French. Répondez, s'il vous plaît.
Yes, that's correct.
RSVP. Yep, there we go. So we're already 41 past the hour. The time goes so quickly. So I have posted the link to the Hangout room, and if Dave or Missy J or Becky or Ron Schneeberger wants to come in, you're invited. I see Ron is here, so he can join us for a little conversation and feedback while we're still live, and then staying afterward. So, Ron, you do realize you are now on the Holy Shift Show. Ron, would you enter and sign in, please?
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm getting feedback. I don't know why.
Okay, well, we aren't hearing any feedback here. If it's uncomfortable for you to speak because of the feedback, I can just have you converse with us after broadcast. Would you prefer to do that?
Yeah, I think I'll wait till afterwards, so I'll leave you now because I can't make out what's going on.
Okay.
Can I interject real quick before you hang up? The reason you're probably, I was going to tell him why he was getting the feedback, but the reason he was probably getting the feedback is because he had the event page open. And if you have the event page open and you attend a hangout, well then you've got two things going on, and that's why you're getting feedback. So yeah. Zara actually had her show a couple weeks ago. Her guest actually had that problem, like I knew what to do, so I just sent her an instant message real quick, and poof, the echo went away. So it's one of those, fun technical difficulties we have with Hangouts. So
yeah. So before we kind of do our wrap up, because the time has gone so quickly, and have each of you talk about any upcoming events or Hangouts that you want to bring notice to, I just want to end up just talking a little bit about exploring collections again, because once again, it's a new Google feature. We were talking about it just briefly in the green room before we went on broadcast, and and I'm just wondering if that is a feature that Hangout hosts can use to to specialize some posts or some topics, and whether that might be helpful for drawing in audiences, for just that specific area of focus. What do you think, Molly?
Yeah, well, I think Collections is a really good tool for Hangout hosts to use because it gives a host the ability to put together different content, different pictures that might be related to the to either a show or series. So I think it's a great tool.
Okay. So do you think, and I haven't spent too much time looking at it yet, there's part of the idea, it's like, oh, here's another great tool. Oh, but I have to take the time to learn how to use it. And, and our lives already feel kind of busy and crowded, and we have to keep listening and discriminating, what to give our time and attention to. But could Collections have within it YouTube videos or YouTube video clips?
With Collections, I believe you have the ability to share a variety of different content. So in that context, you should be able to at least post a link. Now, as for actually uploading video, I'm not aware if it does that or not. I'm not familiar enough with the product to know. But I do know it's a collaborative tool that people can use to showcase and feature content about either themselves, a show, or a business.
Right. So in other words, collections are essentially collections of posts, correct? Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of grouped by topic, I guess.
Yeah, essentially it is. So in that context, if you've got a series of posts that focus on a certain subject, and within those posts you've shared a video, or you've shared a document, or you've shared this information, in theory you should be able to have a video. Now, as for actually uploading a video or a document, the answer is no. As you said, collections is a collection of posts, meaning it's going to group it by certain subjects. So it's one of those things. I think it's a great tool. I've actually been exploring it myself to use for my clients, because I think it's a matter of sharing relevant content. And if we have a tool available to us that we can share relative content to whatever it is we're trying to do, whether you're a chef or you're a school teacher or you're a digital marketer, if you can take a tool that's already collected this for you and market it and kind of put your name on it and say, hey, you know, check out this particular subject. I find it very interesting, or there's something about this particular collection that I like, and you can share that, then that leads into not necessarily self-promotion, but making people aware of your brand and your online presence.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to get right over to you in half a minute, Heidi, because I do want your comments about collections. I just want to acknowledge Becky Coleman came by and said, I wish I'd been in from the beginning, had so wanted to participate, but I mixed the content. Hope you do this again. So, Becky, what I simply want to mention to you is, you know, you can actually just, from the G Plus screen, you can just take the little slider, slide it back, and you can watch this Hangout within the G Plus event page right from the beginning and make your comments, you know, as you go along, as if you were watching it from the beginning. You actually can do that. Or, you know, if the time is you just want to come back and watch it as a replay, come back and watch it as a replay. And if I do, you know, create another Hangout, maybe a private Hangout for some of my, you know, most regular flockers to come in and gather together to share feedback with me, maybe we'll do that too. Now I'm going to jump on over to Heidi. So Heidi, share what you were going to about collections, and then if you want to kind of wind up with some final thoughts and what's coming up for you, we'll bring our show to a close. Okay, Heidi, shoot. Oh, signal.
I don't know if you're here.
She's faded out again. I'll look for her to come back. So, Molly, let's see if you're back. No, okay. So, Molly,
yeah.
any just kind of closing thoughts about feedback?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly do a screen share, if you wouldn't mind pinning me for just a second to actually show people what the collections look like. But essentially what they are is the ability to go look at featured collections, which right here there's a tab, there's, you know, pre-selected collections that people have already put together that Google is featuring, but at the same time you can actually create your own collection. So if you are a business owner or a Hangout provider, and, you know, for that matter, you could probably even take some of your events, meaning your actual Hangout event pages, and create a collection for that. In addition to that, you get found. This is a feature where people can follow all your public collections, or just the ones that they like. And then you can actually customize the collections with custom names and cover photos. So it appears that collections really does have a benefit for Hangout providers, business owners, really anybody who wants an online presence where you can go in and create your own collection that you can post publicly and market.
That is great. Again, just the idea of being able to put in one place like all the event pages. So for people who are on G Plus and want to, look at the comments that people have made, review, that is an easier place. For example, I've been putting in my details, like the links to all my previous Hangout shows, to make it easy for people if they want to visit those, or to just get an idea of the varied content that I've had about shows. But now I really have another way to do it, which is more within the G Plus environment and not just spilling people on over to YouTube, which, that has its pluses and minuses too, because you can get over on YouTube and then suddenly there are all these other Hangouts or all these other YouTube videos showing up there, and they could be attracted to like, oh, well, let me go watch that one and leave.
Exactly. And in theory, you not only could share your YouTube videos as posts, but you could share the actual event page. So in theory, you could have your videos, your actual event pages, pictures. Like I know a lot of times you'd like to take pictures of your guests. So even those pictures could be, could be added to your collection. So yeah, it's a great tool. I totally agree.
Yeah. So thank you, Molly, for just giving us a little bird's eye view onto collections. And now Heidi is back. So Heidi, you've been playing with collections a little bit. Good for you.
I hope you can hear me because our internet speed today is catastrophic. Anyway, for me, collection is a very good tool. You can immediately post into the collections. You don't have to post to public or to whatever. Post directly in the collection you want. The only thing which I notice is it's easy to learn, Elaine. The only thing which makes a little bit of work is if you want to put your previous posts from last month and for 2 months ago and 3 months ago, when you want to put them into collections. This takes time.
That's a little tricky.
But from now on in future, it's easiest, The other thing, I'm not yet so sure how, maybe Molly, you know that, how I can find the collection of other people's. Yes, I get a list of collections, but I cannot scroll down up to the end to find, if there is a possibility to find collections of a certain topic from other people. That's the question.
Yeah, well, with collections, a user can publicly share their collection. So if that person has shared it on their feed, in theory, you could, save that link to where you could go back and revisit that collection. But to actually go and search for specific users' collections, what I would recommend doing is either going and doing a Google search or a Google Plus search, where you search for that person's profile, and in that instance, you should, in theory, be able to find their collections.
I have a quick question, Molly, and that is, I know hashtags don't show up on posts the way they used to, but if people were creating a collection, couldn't they just create like a hashtag for that collection?
That's a very good point, Elaine, because that is the whole purpose of the hashtag, is to collect different, or to collect similar subjects and put them all together. So in theory, I would agree with what you're saying, that if you could include a hashtag with that collection, that it would make it a lot easier to locate.
And like everything else, it's like you then kind of have to instruct people, and maybe I'll do it on my Holy Shift Show, and I'll put up the hashtag for like the Holy Shift Show collection, and I'll have some hashtag for that, and then people will know, oh, that's really an easy way. They can find all of those either links to the event page or the replays or something.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I make one quick comment, Elaine?
Sure, please do, Ron. Hi.
Hi, Molly was right on with having the event page open. I closed it out and it's fine now. So
Yeah.
that's why they call her the Google go-to gal, because she's got all the answers.
Yeah. That's great. So we're at 2:55, which is, kind of running kind of long. I tend to go long, yakety yak, talk some more, talk some more. But let me do a wind up here with Heidi. Tell us what's coming up for you for shows, and Molly, what's coming up for you, so people can tune in for a little bit more of your own wisdom and good stuff. Heidi?
Yeah, tomorrow we have the Wisdom Factory show, where actually I am interviewed by a friend of mine on the modalities I'm teaching and I'm working with. It's about emotional and relational wisdom, creating emotional and relational wisdom. This is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, and you find it in the Wisdom Factory.
Okay.
And also on my personal.
And that date is then June the 3rd, just providing context for people.
June 3rd, yeah. And on June 4th, together with Margarita in Connections Forum, we have something about creativity by a friend of mine who is a professor for creativity in Portugal. And this will be also a little bit towards integral, because she is a fan of integral, and so she tells us how creativity works in her work with her students.
Okay. So thank you so much, Heidi, for joining us.
Thank you.
It was only a couple days ago I got clear on what to do the hangout on, and then at the last minute, fishing around, who'd be good, who's available, who'd like to play here, and so thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And Molly, final thoughts and what's coming up for you? You said you're going to be doing something on Saturday.
Yeah, actually, you can check out my community. It's called the Molly community. You can also find me in the Google Partners community, Google Small Business community. As for Hangouts, I will be doing a Hangout on the 11th, Thursday the 11th. It's Google called me about my business listings. It's actually round 2, where we're going to be discussing some of these digital agencies that claim they're with Google when in reality they're not. The following week, on the 18th, we're going to be talking about the language barrier in regards to Google AdWords and analytics. And then finally, on the 25th, William Rock and I are going to be hosting a hangout about Google nonprofits and how you can take advantage if you're a nonprofit with a fund for $10,000 worth of free Google AdWords every month.
Wow.
So be sure and check that one out.
Do invite me.
Yeah,
I need that.
will.
Our
Absolutely,
Paradiso
yes.
Integrale in Italy is a non-profit, and I really would like to. This is what we are doing here. I mean, the Hangouts, they're all inside the non-profit. And
that's beautiful. Okay, and Ron, I know we're going to be talking plenty, or some, in the Flocker Room post-broadcast, but are there any glowing things you would love to say about feedback in general, the topic, or about the Holy Shift Show while you're still on broadcast?
Well, yeah, the show is, I've learned so much and still continue to learn. And this is one of the shows that I watch consistently, because I like being in a place where I'm not the smartest guy in the room. And I'm definitely not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to the people that you have on and yourself. So I'm learning a lot on the shows that I'm on. And that's why I like to watch certain shows, and this is one of them.
Well, we're glad you're having fun. Ron, I thank you every time that you've said you've joined us in a laughing show. You've given me the feedback that says, with your own lung capacity and stuff that you experience, the laughing has been helpful for you. So I appreciate your willingness to talk about, the benefit of just going along and trying something new from the comfort of your own home. That's great. That's great. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to wind up this hour now, thanking each and every one of you who has tuned in live or replay to the Holy Shift Show. We hope that you have gleaned a little bit more about why it's good to share feedback, your opinions, your experiences. Your Hangout hosts want to know. And then also be aware that there are new and emerging ways that folks like me might be utilizing to elicit a little bit more feedback, to grow community and a sense of connection, so that the shows I'm doing later on this summer and into the fall, they can be emerging based on some of the feedback that we get. It even occurs to me, there are shows, going on hiatus. We have Chef Dennis doing a lot of mobile shows, but his Good Day Google show is on hiatus for now. And Mia Voss, her Mia Connect show. So it's like there are even some vacancies in the schedule. And I'm thinking, should I do something different? These are things we get to consider. We have the freedom to explore the airwaves. Share your feedback with us. Be on the look for questionnaires from me. Be on the lookout for collections. And let's keep getting together to explore F-words, feedback, the G Plus family, and our sense of connection as we share our friendships together. Thanks, everybody, for watching The Holy Shift Show.